What's up everybody and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're checking out Maxace and a lot of it.
Huh. More. Too much. Oh.
But what is Maxace? Well, Maxace is a knives company from China and they make some really interesting products. We've actually talked about Maxace before with our Serpent Striker review being one of my favorite reviews we've ever done. You can find that one here. Now, I've talked about the Covenant a couple times in my collection videos before, and I think even the Obsidian. But today we have three very interesting, very special knives that I want to cover. So up first we have the Maxace Pian, which is honestly a really, really nice knife with a very understated look. I kind of like it. After that, we have the Apostle. Now, this thing is a pretty expensive knife at $450. However, it has channel titanium with carbon fiber inlays and comes with a comb as a trainer blade.
Damn right, son.
That's pretty neat. Last but certainly least is the Maxace Loran. Loran? Is it Loran? Loran?
It maybe doesn't deserve to be called by the right name. It's so small!
It's so small.
It's so small. But if it's small, it has to be cheap, right?
No.
It has to be cheap.
No,
right?
it doesn't have. It does not have to be cheap. That's certainly true. It does not have. The Maxace Loran is a interesting Balisong.
I think even that is an over.
But before we get into judging all of these Balisongs using our state-of-the-art Balisong scoring system, it is my duty to tell you about our Patreon. Our Patreon is a wonderful place where you can support our videos, and patrons get exclusive access to videos like these days in advance of the public. So if you'd like to support me and Brandon in our adventures of making these videos and, you know, potentially get to talk to us a little bit on the private Patreon Discord, consider donating. Tiers start at just $3 a month, and every donation goes a long way because $3 a month is more money than we get from 1,000 views on one of our videos. So like, pretty important. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this awesome collection of amazing products.
Those products look so cool, I could just give you a hug.
Brandon, no!
All right, so first up, I wanted to talk a bit about the history of Maxace as a company and why I find them especially interesting. You see, Maxace came into the knife-making world around 2014. That was when they released their first folder knives and, you know, really started as a company. However, it wasn't until later, in around 2015 to 2016, that they really became known in the Balisong space. One of the first Balisongs they ever brought to market was the Covenant. This is the Covenant V2, but the original Covenant was known for shaking the foundations of the Balisong community as a whole. It was a Chinese manufactured Balisong with titanium scales and carbon fiber inlays that was relatively inexpensive, I believe sub $300. What was crazy about this Balisong at the time was both its price and its construction. It was especially original, running on bearings with titanium, and it was really surprising to see something from a Chinese company because up until this point, the only other Chinese-made Balisongs were crap.
I'm crap.
Why are you on the right side?
I rest my case.
So, the Covenant came in and kind of changed the game, but unfortunately, the original sales of the Covenant also left a bit of a scar on Maxace as a brand. You see, when Maxace got started, they initially sort of, not necessarily partnered with, but sold their knives through a company that already existed on Aliexpress, known as Bali Plus. Now, you might know Bali Plus from their history of making clones. Unfortunately, because of selling through Bali Plus, without Maxace's knowledge, Bali Plus had decided that a great way to boost the sales of the Covenant would be to include a Bali Plus replicant clone with every order. This, of course, did not go over well with the Balisong community, who, when they started receiving their Covenants, also got replicant clones. Now here's the thing to know, Maxace did not want this to happen, and in fact, they weren't told about it until it was already happening. And so they immediately stopped any sort of relationship that they had with Bali Plus and, you know, fixed things and then moved on and kind of carved their own path. But it was really bad for them at the beginning. Unfortunately, these early events kind of reflected a lot of the fears that the Balisong community had about Chinese manufactured knives. Because of this initial problem, Maxace has had to deal with a lot of xenophobia from United States-based customers.
Pro tip, don't be racist. Didn't think we'd have to spell that one out, but in case we did, there you go.
Thankfully, even despite these harsh attitudes in the beginning, Maxace has powered through and proven themselves very much. Now, over the years, Maxace has made a lot of interesting stuff, but they've also made a lot of weird stuff. For instance, stuff like the Scorpius or the Maxace Pelican, which used to be called the Pelicanus before they changed it because they didn't know what that meant in English, and people told them and they were like, whoops, and so they changed it to the Pelican. It was called the Pelicanus for a while. That's a real thing. So yeah, they are known for making very weird knives. I think another good example is this guy right here, the Obsidian. I mean, look at that. What is going on?
Oh yeah, the Obsidianus.
However, they've also been known for making great things. For instance, the Covenant is known as one of the best Balisongs to come out of China kind of ever. On top of that, they've also released the Serpent Striker, which, as I said, we've made a review about. It's got G10 and stainless steel and bearings, and it's cheap. It worked really good. It's a good Balisong. So why is Maxace so important? Well, to me, I think Maxace is a very underrated company and someone that is integral to the Balisong hobby itself. Let me explain why. The first thing that I think is really incredible about Maxace when compared to other companies is their innovative design. Maxace is not afraid to use new materials and very different design on every single product they create. Check this out. This is the Maxace Pelican. This is the Maxace Covenant. This is the Maxace Apostle. This is the Maxace Loran. This is the Maxace Obsidian. And this is the Pian. All of these Balisongs look completely different. Not one of them has the same design in almost any way as any of the others. Even if you look closely, you'll notice that every single one of them uses a different type of screw. They all are either T8 or T10, but literally all of them use custom hardware separate to one another. That is crazy. The level of detail that's put into these things is wild. And on top of that, not only are they all completely unique, but somehow, when you look at them all laid out together in a pile or on a table, they look like they all were made by the same person somehow. Even though they are completely unique in basically every way, there are still through lines in their design, be it the minimalistic way that they do the handle patterns or the very intricate machining and the way that they do the blade grinds, to just their usage of carbon fiber and the language of their hardware. Whatever it is, there is some small through line between all of these different products that does make them feel like they were all made by Maxace. And I think that is incredibly impressive. Many of the biggest Balisong companies right now have a very obvious design through line in all of their products. Squid Industries is especially well known for having Tonto blades and singular lines with holes that run through the handles. Machine-Wise has a very distinct style to his Balisongs. But Maxace? It's whatever you want, dude. It's Outback Steakhouse, baby. No rules, just right. Here's the other thing to know about Maxace. They have continuously offered a fantastic value with good prices. Almost all of their Balisongs are made of premium materials with very nice build quality that you can kind of put through a beating and not even have to worry about it. Finally, the thing that really gets me about Maxace is that they're actually shockingly supportive of the Balisong community. You can tell that the people behind Maxace really do care about the hobby and want to see it thrive. First of all, they're supportive to the people that actually buy their knives in the first place. Not only does every knife come with a really nice customized sheath, but many of them come with extra hardware, the different parts for the knife, all sort of packed together inside of here. And that is really good support for the end user. But on top of that, they're supportive to the community as a whole. For instance, at Blade Show 2022, where we were just at, if you go watch some of our videos about it, Maxace actually donated a ton of their Balisongs to the Blade Show Bally flipping competition. Basically, every person that entered got a free Maxace knife. Not the people that won, not the people that placed, almost everyone who entered got a free Maxace Balisong included in their little goodie bag. Maxace gave away easily like $10,000 worth of Balisongs just for this one event. That is so cool. They gave away stuff like the Maxace Apostle, which we'll talk about later, but you should know is worth $450. And some people just had it in their goodie bag. I saw at least 2, maybe 3. Is that not the coolest thing ever? That's really cool. That's really cool. Thank you, Maxace.
We are shills, we are shills, we are shills, we are shills.
All right, let's back up for a minute now and stop honking some dogs when it comes to Maxace. And instead, I want to talk about the 3 Balisongs that we have to talk about today. As I said, those Balisongs are the Loran, Pian, and Apostle. I forgot. These 3 Balisongs come in 3 different price ranges, which is $450, $250, and $260. And I know that sounds like it's not 3 price ranges because this one's only $250, but this one's $260. That's like a $10 difference. But look at the size of them. If this one was this size, it would cost $100. This costs $260. We'll get into that. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and get into the unboxing experience with these Balisongs. Now, when it comes to unboxing, Maxace is known as the gold standard. They are awesome in terms of their unboxing experience. Let me tell you why. All right, so first thing, obviously you get a Maxace branded, honestly really nice carrying case, which is very cool. This is actually a useful thing. Inside of this carrying case is, of course, the Balisong that you ordered. But on top of that, the extra stuff that is included is really impressive. First things first, inside of here, you get a baggie that has extra hardware. And when I say extra hardware, I mean that Maxace includes an extra of pretty much everything on the Balisong, from pivots themselves to extra pivot screws, new bushings, new springs for the spring latch, new spring latch hardware, new screws for the spring latch hardware, and everything in between. And every one of their Balisongs comes this way, even the cheap stuff like the Serpent Striker. But on top of that, with almost all of the Balisongs they offer now, including all 3 that we're talking about in this video, they all come with both a live blade and also a trainer. Included inside of each one of the packages is both the trainer and live bladed versions, and you can see that they come with stuff in the pivots? That's right. As a matter of fact, the stuff that's in the pivots is very much on purpose. You see, when you switch the blade on a Balisong, you can't just switch the bushings alongside it. The problem is that the bushings, which are made for the thickness of one blade, might not be perfectly matched to the thickness of the other. Therefore, what Maxace has done is included special bushings with the individual Balisong blades so that you don't have to worry about that. You literally just take off one and then put on the other with all of this hardware that's installed on it, and it'll just work. I literally did that before we started shooting this video, and it took me like 15 minutes to swap these 2 blades. So yeah, the unboxing experience for basically every Maxace Balisong, it's a 10 out of 10. It's always a 10 out of 10. Maxace is the gold standard when it comes to unboxing.
It's the very first 10 out of 10.
Is it the first?
Yeah, that's the only 10 out of 10.
Wow. Maxace really is the gold standard, and I hope that more companies take inspiration from them when it comes to sending out their products. All right, so now we move into the tuning aspect, and honestly, these knives are relatively interesting in this way. Maxace is relatively known for good tuning quality in their Balisongs. For instance, this Pian that I have is a little bit loose from a lot of flipping, and all I have to do to tighten it is figure out which side has the real screws. It is this one, and then tighten it with my T8 Torx driver. Boop. Oh no. There we go. It takes a little bit of fine tuning, but it's a minimal amount. And so for the Maxace products in the tuning category, with the 2-on bushings, I give them a 7 out of 10. Obviously not a perfect experience, but for something that's coming from a relatively large factory in China, It's pretty impressive. And of course, it actually comes with extra oversized bushings that you could ostensibly tune yourself and get it perfect. So that's pretty nice. When it comes to the Loran, however, this thing is on bearings for some reason, like very small bearings, which is not bad, but
Don't lie to yourself.
it's
Be real.
It means that the tolerances are lost relatively quickly from the vibration in the bearings, and then on top of that, if you over tighten it, the whole thing just locks up completely. So 6 out of 10. It's above average because it's like nice bearings, I hate to say, but still not upper more than that. All right, now we move into the durability category, and this one is actually pretty dang good for all of these Balisongs. Maxace is known for making Balisongs out of pretty strong material with very good build quality. Something else that they're really known for is the usage of really nice blade steel in basically all of their knives. This knife right here uses M390 for its blade steel, which is a exceptionally good steel. This one's also M390, this one's S35VN, which is impressive because all of them do that across the entire price range. If you go back all the way to the Serpent Striker, those also use either S35VN or M390, which is very impressive. That's a really nice blade steel to be using in a knife that is not very expensive. So for that, I've got to give them pretty high marks for the blade steel. However, when it comes to the construction of the rest of the Balisongs, I think they're good, but not perfect. For instance, with the Pian, I think it's very nice, but it has a lot more screws than I would like. It has these 2 up here and then 2 on each handle down at the bottom, which isn't that bad. However, the ones down at the bottom are T6 size screws, which is not my favorite. The problem with T6 screws is that they just strip so easily.
I strip so easily.
Oh, Jesus, no! I wish they would have gone with T8 down here and then T10 for the pivots. That is the other thing to know about Maxace, is that they almost always use T8 for the pivots. And if you were gonna use T8 for the pivots, then why not use T8 for the body screws too? Then it could just be T8 all the way down. That'd be so dope. But maybe it's for aesthetics, like you want a different size hole down here than up there. I don't know. All I'm saying is that if it had less screws and you didn't have T6, it'd probably get a higher score, but for now, it still gets an 8 out of 10, which is pretty high. That's pretty high. That's well above average. It's fully made of titanium. It's very hardcore, good build quality. It's got good bushings. It's just the T6 screws. That's the only thing that kind of backs it off from being a 9 or 10. Next up is the Apostle, and this one actually gets the same score as the Pian, both of them having an 8 out of 10. The reason this one gets an 8 out of 10 though is not because of the extra screws. As a matter of fact, the fully channel titanium construction of this is fantastic. The reason it doesn't get a 9 or 10 though is because the carbon fiber is, you know, prone to getting damaged if you drop it on stuff like concrete. The way that we have the durability test set up is that a 5 is something that gets damaged easily when you drop it on concrete, and a 9 or 10 is something that damages the concrete when you drop it on concrete. So this doesn't quite get there, but it's close. Finally, we have the Loran, which is a perfectly fine Balisong in terms of its durability, but it's not great like these other two. You have these carbon fiber inlays, but the way that they're done makes them more prone to falling out, which happened while we were shooting the B-roll to this video.
Ooh. The carbon fiber popped out.
The carbon fiber. Yeah, that's a thing that happens. You just gotta super glue it back in.
You have to super glue the carbon fiber back in?
Yeah, it happens. Oh no, it's falling out, no. Now it's gonna fall out until I re-glue it. And alongside that, it's so small that it's gonna slip out of your hands a lot more and fall on the concrete, so you're more likely to lose those carbon fiber spacers. It's not the best. Oh, it fell out again, fuck. The other problem too is that it is on bearings instead of bushings, which is unfortunate because that means it has less resistance to dust and dirt and is a little bit harder to tune. Because of this, we give the Loran a 6 out of 10. So not quite as high as the 8, and believe me, the difference between a 6 and an 8 is relatively substantial. So a little lower on the Loran, but these two, Dang. By the way, even if you have relatively durable balisongs, it's always best to store them in a way that is good for their health. That's why we invented these cases available at cases.wilhirsch.gay. This one is Case Delta, and it allows you to store 7 of your balisongs from your collection with a beautiful spot that you can stick your favorite one right in the middle and show it off to the world. Check them out at cases.wilhirsch.gay.
Wait, you're gay?
No, you're gay.
I feel fine. Nothing changed.
Whew! Now we're on the flippability section.
Okay.
I think I have brain damage. To be fair, Maxace is actually pretty well known for their flippers being very good, even since the beginning. So it will come as no shock to you that these get a pretty high score in this category. Most of them. Let's start with the Pian. The Pian is actually very good for flipping despite its minimalistic stylings. In fact, you might think that this balisong has no grip whatsoever with this really weird, long, flat cutout and then no jimping at all. But actually, interestingly enough, it does have very good grip. The reason for this being that it is sandwich design, and so there's plenty of areas for your fingers to kind of dig into. On top of that, the actual finish that they went for on this balisong is a really nicely done bead blast finish that personally I love the way it feels in the hand. The only thing that I think it could improve on, of course, is actually having jimping. The Pian is very conventionally good, and I think that means that it scores relatively high. In fact, an 8 out of 10 when it comes to flipping. It has the kind of balance that I think most people would agree is good, and it elevates itself pretty highly above the rest. Now we can go to the Apostle. The Apostle is a honestly very good balisong. This thing is really interesting balance-wise. It's not perfect, but it's very, very good. In fact, I think it flips better without the trainer blade than with it. The trainer blade is a little bit heavier than the included live blade, and so you get a little bit more of a blade bias. However, it's not that much of a difference. In fact, it's kind of shocking how well it flips with either blade. And so I also want to give the Apostle an 8 out of 10 as a flipper. It's shockingly good for what it is, and the fact that it's so no nonsense with so little screws to adjust really means that it's a lot of fun to have in your collection. Something interesting to note about the Apostle is it actually is a pinsless balisong. You can see the actual tang pin is this very interesting, cutout that is literally just part of the titanium of the handle. Now, I don't know how long this will last, and I've been burned by that before, but currently, after having flipped it quite a bit, I haven't seen any reduction in the overall size of the handle gap, so I'm actually pretty impressed with the construction so far. All right, so finally, we move on to the Loran. This balisong, the Loran gets a 2 out of 10 for flipping.
I'd rather run away from it.
Yeah.
Love you, Maxace.
Here's the thing, the Loran kinda sucks for flipping, and there's a number of reasons behind that. It's tiny, first of all. It's really small. It's so small you can't get much done in terms of flipping. Like, it'll kinda do it, but not really. Here's the other thing. This is the bite side, technically, as denoted by the bite handle marker, which means that the latch is on the safe side, which is the Filipino style, but isn't something that's been seen in westernized balisongs for a very long time, so I don't know what's up with that. And then here's the final nail in the coffin. The Loran also comes with a live blade. This is a double-edged blade. The Loran is so small that any move you try to make with it is almost guaranteed to touch your hand in some way, which is very bad when the live blade is double-edged. Hello? So yeah, The Loran is an interesting balisong for sure, but the shape of the handles is weird in the hand. It doesn't feel good to Chaplin. It's kinda crunchy. It's just weird. It doesn't feel good to fan because the handles are like oval shaped kind of from like this direction. There's a lot going on here. And on top of that, it's not even a great EDC because the tools that are on it aren't great and the blade that's included is double-edged. And then, they didn't even send me the comb one. There's one that's a comb? I would've used that, look at me. But no, I got a fork. Which, like, I guess, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Thankfully, I will admit the comb from the Apostle does work and works rather well, weirdly enough, for how massive its teeth are. Don't know how that works, but cool. This, not cool. Okay, so now we get into the availability score, and when it comes to Maxace, this is where things start to get a little weird. Here's the thing, Maxace products have great availability when they're first released, on a bunch of different websites. But that's also kind of the problem, because they have great availability on a bunch of different websites. So it's either on these like little small knife retail websites, or it's available on different resellers on Aliexpress, and sometimes I just wish I could go to Blade HQ and buy it. Or like Knife Center, or whatever. Just a store that's a normal one that I know about that I could just go and buy it. But no, it's available all over the place. And so what ends up happening is you have these balisongs that are released and are actually very available because usually they make a lot of units, and then you have to find them. So you either are finding them from random websites that you're randomly shopping on, and what'll happen there is you'll find something that's in stock even though they haven't made it in like multiple years, and they'll have like one left on this random website on the corner of the internet, and because of the way that these products are released, you don't know if you're gonna get scammed or if that website is legit, and so you're kind of in this weird limbo, and it just isn't great. It's not great. I appreciate that they are as available as they are, but it's not a great system. And so that leads to a 6 out of 10 score for all Maxace balisongs in terms of availability. It's pretty cool that they're as available as they are, and to be fair, they're actually very available when it comes to the international market because of their Aliexpress, you know, ability, but it's sketchy. So, you know, I'd like to see them available on more centralized retailers is all I'm saying.
You can shop at 5 or 6 stores, or just one.
You could shop at 5 or 6 stores, or just one. All right, so now we're gonna take everything we talked about and come down to the value score. First up is the Pian, which is a great value for a knife of this size. It is a full-size titanium balisong made of very premium materials and has good flippability. This balisong is $250, which is half of the price of some of the other balisongs in this category. Obviously, the Chab is almost $500, and this thing goes for almost $1,200 sometimes. And the Pian, while more simplistic in its design, isn't that different in terms of construction. Therefore, we give the Pian a 9 out of 10 when it comes to value. The only thing keeping it from being a full 10 out of 10 is the flippability experience of it. While being very good, it's still not perfect, so it's not like you're getting the most amazing flipping for the value, but you're getting pretty dang close. And at $250, also including a trainer blade and extra hardware and this bag, that's a really good value. 9 out of 10 is super high on our list. The Apostle is also extremely good value. It is a channel titanium balisong on bushings that comes with carbon fiber inlays and looks pretty freaking sweet. On top of that, you get a live blade and a trainer blade that are both made of pretty good blade steel, and one of them's a comb. That's awesome. This thing is only $450, which sounds like a lot until you consider that the Chab is almost $500 and it doesn't come with carbon fiber inlays or extra hardware or a trainer blade included in the package. As I've said, Maxace can utilize the ability to produce their products in China and get cheaper products onto the shelves, but that doesn't mean that they have to compromise on quality, and this is proof of that. And so, for the Apostle, we give it an 8 out of 10 in terms of its value. It is a very, very good knife, but it's still pretty expensive when you look at the grand scheme of things. So 8 out of 10 instead of 9 or 10 is simply due to that price tag. All right, next up is the Loran. The Loran is a good value for the construction, I guess, because it's got carbon fiber and titanium and it's well machined. But here's the thing. When you're spending $260 on a Balisong, which is more than the Pian, I feel like you would expect it to flip good, and this does not. In fact, this flips objectively bad. It is bad. It is not good, it is bad. And so, even though it is made of high quality materials and the machining is very nice and all of that, it only gets a 4 out of 10 in terms of its value score because, in our opinion, the flippability of a Balisong is a large reason why you might buy that Balisong.
It is a very fun collector's item and should be treated as that or as a thing that you put in your mouth right now for the first time.
Oh wow, it really did almost fit all the way in there.
Almost all the way.
As Brandon said, you could collect it. I mean, it's definitely a cool collector's item. I mean, it's pretty sweet looking. I won't lie, it's neat. It's just not for me. Or most people, I would say. And so we have made it to the end of this mega episode on Maxace. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see the final score for each one of these Balisongs, here they are. This is the score for the Apostle, here's the score for the Pian, and here's the score for the Loran. They're all on screen at the same time, and now they're gone. They're gone. You need to go check the list. That's how I get, because I don't put them on for long enough, and now you need to go look. Click right there for the list. Maxace is a company that kind of gets flown under the radar in a lot of circumstances, but to me personally, they're a very impressive Balisong manufacturer who has come through a lot of controversy to get to where they are today as being one of the most innovative Balisong makers out there right now. It's kind of crazy what they put out their doors. Honestly, while I don't like the Loran as a flipper, the fact that they put this out at all shows that they've got guts, which is really cool. It shows that they're willing to take chances and create products that aren't necessarily the best thing in the world, but they're unique in a special way, and that puts them somewhere into my heart that I do love, even if I hate them. Anyways, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to Maxace for sending out these products for review. I have really enjoyed flipping them, and I appreciate their support of this channel. The other people that I appreciate supporting this channel are our patrons. You guys are the best and really do help us make each one of these videos. Your support is more important to us than basically any other stream of revenue we currently have. It's the most direct way that a single viewer of this channel can support us. So thank you so much to those that have already donated. If you'd like to join them in supporting this channel and getting your name in these credits, you can do that by going to patreon.com/TheWillHirsch and donating. You can donate as little as $3 a month and still support us more than 1,000 views on one of these videos. So that's pretty neat. On top of that, you get awesome perks like getting to see these videos days in advance or getting to talk to us on the private community Discord. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the moment. Now, if you'll excuse me, Brandon and I have actually decided to increase our durability testing substantially. Here we go.